It was a great day for a ship launch in Collingwood Harbour. Memories of Hull 172, Black Bay, launched on September 20th, 1962 at the Collingwood Shipyard, were rekindled thanks to the efforts of three people: artist Keith Kuhneman, model builder Don Neer, and Collingwood native and historian Jim Trott. Keith said the idea to build a model of Black Bay was born 2 years ago.
About 2 years or so ago, my cousin's husband Don Neer and I were talking about the next ship for Don to build with his model collecting and that. And I said, why don't you build something from Collingwood that was built here? So he thought about it a bit, and I had that one book of all the hulls built here. So he thumbed through it, and he liked the name Black Bay. So I said, well, you build it, and I'll try and paint it with watercolor, and we'll see whose turns out the best. Anyway, that's how we got going, and winter came and we both went to work and we both finished our painting, and we thought it'd be great to launch it. It's a remote controlled boat and we hope it floats. We're gonna have to put a bit of green in it, I think.
Retired Collingwood businessman Jim Trott had a long association with the shipbuilding industry, as his family business, Trott's Furniture, outfitted the ships built in Collingwood.
I'd say we had the pleasure. My grandfather started to do business with the shipyard when they started to build steel ships in 1903, and we estimated on what would for the furnishings and curtains or whatever they needed. At one time it was knives and forks and spoons that we supplied, but I said we submitted our prices and were successful, and don't like to brag, but we did each ship that Collingwood Shipyards built.
In fact, Trott's Furniture also outfitted ships built at Port Arthur, Midland, and Port Weller shipyards. Mr. Trott tells us how he became involved with the Black Bay project.
Don Neer came over from Hanover, and we got talking about ships, and he said, I'm building a model of the Black Bay. I said, yeah, that was built for the CSL. And he said, yeah. And so I said, well, we furnished it. And he said, you furnished it? I said, yeah. Like, we put furniture on it, and all kinds of drapes, and did the color schemes for them, for the shipyard and that. And that's how we got to know each other. And then we've been commuting back and forth. I don't have any of the modern equipment. I guess I'm too old for that, but and he kept sending me pictures of it, how he's making out with it, and so I received, as I remember, 4 or 5 pictures, and then we got down and talking to him this spring, and he said, hey, I got that model just about ready, and we were just wondering about Keith and I could come up and maybe we could get together and I'll show you what it looks like. And I said, well, I'll tell you, why don't we just, where are you going to launch it? And he said, what do you mean? It's not to be running around. But I said, well, why don't we set up a launching in Collingwood, because it was built here. That'd be a good idea. And he said, oh boy, that sounds really interesting.
Don Neer, who lives in Hanover, began building model airplanes as a child.
I can't tell you how I got interested in airplanes. Just being a kid, I was 9 years old when I started. I remember my dad deciphered the plans for me because I didn't know what they meant. And then, yeah, that was, when the heck was that? That'd be in Timmins in 1950.
Don moved on to build models of submarines and ships, saying that it took about 12 months to build the model of the Black Bay. How long from start to finish did it take you?
Start to finish, started in the fall, was done by the following June or July. I don't know, 8 months, 9 months, pretty much a year really. Yeah.
Is this the first ship you've built?
No, the first one I built was a Haida. Used to be in Toronto Harbour. Remember that one at Waterfront? Mm-hmm. It's now in Hamilton Harbour. It's a permanent heritage now.
So we had a ship launch in Collingwood for the first time in a very long time. So we're going to have a ship launch here today for the first time in a lot of years.
Ship launch? Well, I guess, yeah.
Hull 172 Black Bay set cargo records early in her career. Built for Canada Steamship Lines, the turbine-powered Black Bay often carried ore from Lake Superior or St. Lawrence ports to Stelco at Hamilton, or grain to the St. Lawrence. Thanks to the efforts of Keith Kuhneman, Don Neer, and Jim Trott, we're able to see her once again.